Mhm.
lead me up to the time of you getting, thinking, okay, I'm getting into real estate, and kind of lead me up to that, the decision.
Sure.
And
About a year or 2 after I got that store, I started having kids. So, we're 1, and then we're 2, and then we're 3, and within 2.5 years, we had 3 kids. And so, here we are living in the middle of Iowa, and my wife's family was living in Ohio. And I should mention that was my first wife. I'm with my second wife now, in case she's listening. Anyway, my first wife is living in Iowa. I'm working a lot, and she's essentially by herself. She's got friends and things like that, but quite honestly, all her family is in Ohio.
yeah,
And her sister, she has one sibling. Her sister and kids who were about our kids' age, her mom, her grandma, aunts, uncles, everybody's living in this little town of New Bremen, Ohio, out in Auglaize County. And every well, I got to hear about this a lot. I hear about it a lot. And we go there to visit because her whole family's there. So anytime we can get out that way, we stop in. And, while all this is happening over a several year period, we're having these kids. Anytime the kids couldn't sleep, I'd put them in the truck, put them in their little car seat, and then I would just drive around. I used to spend my lunch hours just driving around looking at real estate. Just part of it was I wanted to buy, but then it was more fascinating than that. Like, I wonder how these people get paid. Like, I didn't even understand. I didn't get any of that.
sure,
Um, and a friend of mine was a partner at a private real estate firm in Iowa City, and he kind of broke all this stuff down for me, and it became like, wow, he's like the coolest person I know, and I probably had a little bromance thing going on there, if I'm being honest. 'Cause he's tan and he golfs all the time and he drives a BMW and he's like, wow, this dude has got it. And he seems to just never work. He's probably always working, but it just looks like, where's Kevin?
yeah,
Oh, he's at lunch. He's at the club. It's just like, wow, what is this? How do you do this? So I became very fascinated with it. So anytime my kids couldn't sleep or anytime I had some downtime I needed to decompress, I would drive around and look at properties for sale. And then I'd go, it's pre-internet, of course. Then I would go find the real estate book or something and like the magazines and stuff and
yeah.
just I don't know, I became pretty fascinated with it. Same when we visited New Bremen. When the kids couldn't sleep, I put them in the car and I'd drive around. And I kept seeing these Remax signs from this guy named Lowell Ziegenbusch. I will never forget this man. And New Bremen's not very big. It's like three, four
Okay,
thousand people. But every freaking sign, really, dude? He has the whole town? And there was
yeah.
dozens. There was a new development, there was rentals, and everywhere you go, there he is. And his face was on the sign. And so I'm like, this guy's got an empire, the Lowell Ziegenbusch empire. And I would joke with my wife of like, someday I'm gonna get me some of that Lowell Ziegenbusch empire. I don't know how, I don't know when. So one night we're in New Bremen. This would be '99. We're hanging out at the fish fry. The Legion, I guess, has them a lot. I'm at the fish fry with my in-laws. They grew up there, and lo and behold, who's sitting across from me? But the emperor, right? There he
Yeah,
is. And
yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, that's the guy on the sign. And there's hundreds of people at this thing. So I poked my father-in-law and he's like, yeah, that's Lowell. I went to high school with him. Like they know each other, of course. So he introduces me. We end up talking for hours. And I'm still working in Iowa. I'm still loving life. My wife really is hinting pretty hard at this point that we should probably get closer to her family because she needs help, on and on. And so everything kind of dovetailed. And he's like, he just tells me at the end of that visit, he says, I'm going to be really blunt with you. I'm in my 60s. I don't want to do this forever. My kids don't want anything to do with this business. Like they've all got their own careers. I think this could work. Like you should seriously consider. He's recruiting me, right? At the stupid fish fry. He's recruiting me. And so he did a great job of it too. He painted a very clear path on how I could come onto his team. I could be a buyer's agent for him. He would
Yeah,
teach me, he would train me, and then in sort of this nebulous time in the future, several years out,
yeah.
then maybe we can work on a succession plan, right? And so honestly, fast forward over the next 12 months, I went back, I quit my job, I sold my house, we packed everything up, and we looked like the Beverly Hillbillies. Just we cruised across 12 hours across all those states and uh, rented a house for a little while, and I went to work for Remax, and that's how I got in.
So that would have been what, 20 two
2000.
thousand
Yep.
2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And from there, I mean, just that conversation, and it's always fascinates me because I know that like you said earlier, the seed of probably your dad buying those investment properties,
Probably.
which is what fascinated you with just the driving around, probably, and
Mhm.
then that just spread from there. Um, when you got into the business, I'm always curious. Okay, leaving a for you a job and a state, coming to a brand new area where you didn't really know
Mhm.
anyone. Obviously, you had
Nope.
family that did, um, but going from a secure job to, hey, you're commissioned now. Good luck. Doubters, supporters. I mean, you had family to consider, kids, all of that stuff. Did you have a lot of people in your corner?
So, it depends on where you were in the United States. So, if my whole family's in Illinois, so as supportive as they were, it was more like, "Well, why can't you just do that where you live? Like, if you're gonna throw it all away, just do it from your house. Like, why do you have to move?" I'm like, "Well, because there's not a Lowell Ziegenbusch empire, um, here, and he's offering to, show me the way." And
Yeah.
so then the people at the music store were, of course, not very thrilled about this because they had plans for me retiring there. And
Right.
the owner, it was right around the time of my youngest daughter's first birthday party. So they came. That's the kind of company it was. They came to her birthday
Mhm.
party. Her
Mhm.
him Several other key members of his leadership team came to this thing, and they did anyway. It's not like they just finally showed up. They were at all
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
But anyway, so we're sitting down and we're eating cake, and he's just like, I know you're friends with Kevin. Why don't you just go to work for Kevin? He can teach you. And I'm just like, I don't know how to explain it to you. All I know is I have to do this. I don't. I
Mm.
To this day I couldn't tell you why. And there's been lots of theories about why I did what I did, but this is not unprecedented before or since. I've done a lot of crazy stuff in my life, and most of it happens not necessarily at the Legion Fish Fry, but something, whatever is the local and current equivalent of that. That's how I make decisions. For some reason, the pieces are all up here, and then 1 minute they're all right here, and they're in perfect focus, right or wrong, they're in perfect focus, and then I go and I don't look back. So
Mm.
yeah, there were plenty of doubters, and there were plenty of supporters, and all were nobody was totally in one camp or the other, unless
Yeah.
they had a vested interest in how this turned out.
Yeah.
But even the owners of the music store were kind of like, after that cake conversation, were kind of, you know what? It's okay, kid. Go do your thing. We hope that it works out for you, but if it doesn't, you always have a home here. So, I mean, that was kind of nice, the safety
Yeah.
net. But I'm also not like, I don't even look back, much less go back. So, but it did feel good. It was some validation, and yes, I guess in the back of my mind, if I had any doubts, that was like calmed it down. My parents, but by then my parents were together, so dad was all in. Like, this is a great idea. Mom was she just cried. She's like, "I can't believe you're taking my grandbabies that far," because we were only like an hour and a half from her, and now we're going to be like
Yeah.
7 or 8 hours away. So that
Yeah.
was, but she understood. Mom always said, you're never going to have a dream come true if you don't have a dream. And this is
Mm.
from a very early age. That kind of stuff gets, you know,
Mhm.
well, what's she going to do now? I'm chasing my dream. So, but I would say the biggest doubter, if there was one, was probably me in the middle of the night. Like, am I just committing financial and career and all other ways suicide? Like, is this a burn your ships kind of moment? Yep, it is.